Welcome fellow students and teachers to our social documentary on political apathy in youth. What is political apathy? Political apathy is defined as a lack of interest in participating in political activities. Recently, the problem of political apathy in youth has become extremely prevalent. Students often lack the desire to read up on the social-political climate in Singapore and to share their thoughts about governmental policies. We surveyed 35 year 4RA students to find out more about their level of awareness of current affairs. Unfortunately, more than 80% of RA students indicated that they have not heard of or have no awareness about the recent GST tax hike debate in Parliament. This speaks volumes of a growing youth population that is ignorant to political changes in society.
Political apathy is a huge problem that creates a disconnect between the government and the youth, paralysing the enactment of policies that benefit the youth. With each passing generation, problems experienced by people of different social classes and ages become more diversified. Governments are not omnipotent. A small group of ministers would not be able to understand problems everyone faces in Singapore, and that includes problems the youth face. This is where the youth contribute to the problem. Youths who are politically apathetic will be unable to express their problems they have with the current policies to the government. Without the feedback from youth, the government will be unaware of these problems and will not address the problems the youth face through legislation, preventing the enactment of legislative change to solve their problems. This gives the youth the impression that the government doesn't care about them, creating a vicious cycle of misunderstanding and apathy.
So what might have led to the rise in social apathy? A possible reason is the high standard of living the youth enjoy in Singapore now. Economic prosperity is booming right now, with our GDP per capita of $52,000 ranking 10th in the world. Almost everyone has a roof above their head due to subsidized HDB prices or rent, and our country has a really high literacy rate of 96.8% as of 2015. With such social stability, it is highly probable that youth in Singapore takes the peacefulness here for granted. It does not occur to them that such living conditions were only made possible thanks to active individuals who cared enough about the state of the country to campaign for societal change.
Another possible reason for political apathy is the perception that the people have that the government does not care about the opinions of the people. Media censorship is highly prevalent in Singapore, with the lack of free press and infamous OB markers which dictate topics which are currently out of bounds for civil discussion. This gives the impression that the government is unwilling to listen to the opinions of the people and tries to actively suppress all alternative forms of social discourse. Opposition parties are also vastly underrepresented, with the PAP holding 84 out of 89 Member of Parliament seats. Therefore, youth may feel that there is no point actively participating in political activities since there is no way they will be able to influence any change in legislation.
Another possible reason for political apathy is the busy academic life of youths. Singapore's emphasis on meritocracy has resulted in the formation of an academic pressure cooker, where results are treated as the most important factor in a student's life. Therefore, most of students' lives are taken up by studying, leaving little time for them to explore the implications of current affairs and understand the importance of political participation. Even social studies, the subject most relevant to social affairs, has been typecast as an academic subject, and it is thus studied purely as such. Current affairs are rarely discussed in class, with teachers opting to use only a few mostly outdated case studies that support SC arguments. Consequently, Singaporean students only view current affairs and politics as an academic subject with no real-life implications, thus they do not recognise the importance of political participation.
All these reasons bring us to one question. So how are you able to contribute in solving this problem? The first solution is addressed to the adults, or specifically teachers. Given the lack of time students have to explore current affairs independently, you can help change the way social studies is taught. More emphasis can be placed on current affairs and political developments into the syllabus. Time should also be allocated for discussions to develop critical thinking about problems in society and solutions to solve them. For example, the recent proposed increase of the GST could be used as a learning point for discussion in class. Ultimately, students would have the ability to consider problems from different perspectives and come out with sensible, legitimate suggestions that will solve problems in society. This will help spark their interest in students toward current affairs during curriculum time and equip them with the necessary skills to be active citizens and drive the country forward.
Our second solution goes out to the youth. We encourage you to actively participate in values in action projects at non-governmental organizations or Meet the People sessions. Conducting your values in action projects at NGOs or MPSs will expose you to the ways you can express your views and influence legislative change for problems you face other than merely voting or running for elections.
You may be wondering, how will volunteering at events like MPS promote active citizenry? We conducted an interview with 20-year-old Ms. Kara Loh, a frequent volunteer for the MPS at Bishan Toa Payoh GRC under MP Josephine Teo. We learned more about the volunteering process there. According to Ms. Low, students from junior colleges may apply to volunteer at MPS through their school or through individual emails. Ms. Kara Low's job was to interact with the participants and write down their concerns in the form of a letter, which after being proofread by other senior volunteers will be signed by the MP in charge, and this letter will then be sent to the relevant agency for further action. Ms. Low also mentioned the cases she wrote in letters for mostly involved appeals for outstanding parking fines, electricity bills, and sometimes hospital bills. While the volunteers and ministers are unable to provide hard cash to resolve their problems, volunteers are able to direct people in need to apply for financial grants and subsidies and provide vouchers for their immediate daily necessities. Therefore, it's evident that volunteering at MPS and witnessing the interaction between citizens and MPs will help you to better understand how the government listens to feedback from the citizens and makes an effort to solve their problems.
And with that, we encourage the youth to play their part as an active citizen in keeping up with current affairs and offering suggestions so as to ensure continued cooperation between the government and people to ensure progress and representation of your rights. Thank you.